Welcome back for the amazing afternoon sessions. So, up next will be Admiral John Richardson. Over the years, his name came up over and over again in my conversations with Dr. Stephen Spear, and I was so delighted last year when I was finally able to meet him. I had the privilege of interviewing him for 4 hours on the Idealcast earlier this year, and I learned so much from him and so much of what he talked about. I thought was relevant to not just every technology leader, but every leader. And I was so delighted that he was willing to give a talk here to teach us about leadership development. And I can't think of a better person to teach us this, as Admiral Richardson served as Chief of Naval Operations for 4 years, which is the highest ranking officer in the U.S. Navy, overseeing the efforts of over 600,000 people. And before that, he served as the Director of U.S. Naval Reactors, which is comprehensively responsible for the safe and reliable operation of the U.S. nuclear propulsion program, which Dr. Spear has written so extensively about in his book, The High Velocity Edge. And now that he's retired from the U.S. Navy, he serves on the board of directors of numerous companies, including Boeing, the world's largest aerospace company, and Exelon, a Fortune 100 company which operates the largest fleet of nuclear plants in America. So here's Admiral Richardson in two parts. The first is a lecture that he gave earlier this year at the Europe conference, and the second is an interview that I did with him last week to learn more about what leadership development looks like in the military and how it can be applied to help any leader, especially in times like now.
Well, Gene, thank you very much for that terrific introduction, and thanks for asking me to be here for this unbelievable forum. As Gene said, I just finished a 37-year career in the Navy. I retired about 18 months ago. During that career, I was a submariner by trade, and when we did the math after I retired, it turned out that I've spent more than 11 years underwater, and so I've got that going for me. I commanded at pretty much every level in the Navy, including the commander of the U.S. submarine force. I was the Director of Naval Reactors, which was Admiral Rickover's job, if you know about him, and then finished my time in the Navy as the Chief of Naval Operations. And since retiring, I've been part of a number of different corporate boards, doing some consulting and helping other teams really kind of deal with this quickly accelerating situation. In fact, one of the couple of questions that I get asked most often are, how can we achieve objectives or results at speed? And then how, as a leader, might we address, both leader and worker fatigue, particularly as COVID has gone on much, much longer than any of us anticipated. And, my answer to both of those questions is roughly the same. The answer involves kind of a radical pushing of ownership of the mission out to the farthest capable edge of your organization. This radical delegation, if you will, is really the essence of effective naval power, where, the Navy will send a captain and his or her crew over the horizon with a mission with very little oversight, give you a big chunk of assigned water, and expect you to come back with that mission accomplished, and also come back with a team that is better in every respect than the team that you left, stronger in every respect. And so maybe to illustrate that, I thought I'd start with a sea story. There's a 1-week period in October of 2016 where the United States, at sort of the highest levels of government, had decided to send a destroyer from the East Coast of the United States to the Middle East. And part of that journey was a transit through the Straits of Bab el-Mandeb at the southern end of the Red Sea. This was an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, very advanced warship. And as the destroyer went through the Straits of Bab el-Mandeb, on the northern side of that strait was the coast of Yemen. And the destroyer was attacked by coastal cruise missiles fired from the coast of Yemen. In fact, they were attacked not once, but 3 times. And, this involves really reaction times in seconds. And this ship successfully defended herself, not once, but 3 times. And in one of those times, put together an effective counterattack. Now, this combination of defense and counterattack is takes tremendous coordination uh, by the crew, right? The crew on board the ship, and also a coordination of the ship with its task force, and also that task force with the larger command and leadership elements of the nation. It requires really a full team approach from the strategic all the way down to the very tactical edge. And it eventually, even on board the ship, involves several teams working really in a symphony of coordination. And another thing that's noteworthy is that even on board the ship, the actions on board that ship were not directed by the ship's commanding officer on a couple of those attacks, but they were the entire response of the ship was coordinated by a much more junior leader, the officer of the deck, who was controlling the ship at that time. And it's just the way that we do 24/7 high impact operations on board a ship, right? We've got to be operating all hours of the day while we're underway. And so we put, junior officers on duty so that the captain can perform the other duties that he or she is responsible for. And also, of course, importantly, get some rest. And so even though we had delegated that mission to a junior officer, we had also given him that officer, full ownership of the situation. That officer had the expertise and the authority